Okay, so cactus kit spike. So we've done the pot, and then the dirt started with the first 11 rounds of the pot. So that's done. Still tightening down pretty far. And now we will finish up the dirt and assemble them. So we're starting with round 12, and we are just going to chain 1, single crochet in the next 10, and then increase. So chain 1 and then single crochet. So insert, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook, and then I'm tightening down like that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and then an increase, so 2 in this next one. 1, 2. Now repeat that all the way around, not working into your slip to join or your chain, and I'll be back at the join. Okay, so here we are at the end of round 12, and this is our slip to join. This is our chain, so I'm gonna slip to our first single crochet over here. And I will say, this particular yarn, the skein was the most annoying to deal with. I had to sit here for 10 minutes and unravel it all, because whatever way I started pulling from this one, I guess was the wrong way, because it was all kinds of tangled. So slip to join, chain 1, so single crochet in the next 11, then increase. So here's 1. Now I'm still tightening, I'm just doing it, I did it a little more, I guess, dramatically for the demonstration or whatever, but I'm holding the tension on my hook and I'm using this one to pull and tighten. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then our increase in the next. And complete that around. Now this requires holding my whole hand with more tension, and in here it gets tired faster in my fingers. That's why I don't really like doing it this tightly, but we have to do the dirt as tightly as the pot because they need to fit together. Although, considering I probably could have done this a little bit looser, but not much. So you know, anyways, repeat that around, and then I'll be back for the end, and then this piece will be done, and then we'll put them together. So I'll be back after the end of 13. Okay, end of round 13. I just did a stitch count. I have 78 stitches, which is what I want. So I'm going to fasten off here to our first single crochet, and we will move on. So the tail we're going to sew this with is from the pot, so we don't need a tail to sew for this. I do need my scissors. Okay, so I'm just gonna trim this and weave my ends in. For which I need a needle. Okay. I'll start with this one. Now this started with not a magic circle, I'm pretty sure, so I don't need to tie this down. I'll just weave it into some stitches. This yarn also had a tendency, all this fuzz had a tendency to cause like knotting, where the little tendrils like wrap around the yarn and tighten up, which was also frustrating. Okay, so I'm just gonna, these are so small from having to do this so tight. I ain't gonna get my needle in here. This is annoying. Let's just work the needle through a couple and then we'll put the thread on. These ones are kind of bigger, so I'm just gonna do these. Alrighty. Now, here is the top of our dirt. Here is this. Now, I don't need this whole thing. So let's just kind of guesstimate an amount. And we are going to be sewing these together. And we're going to be working into the third row from the top here. So this here is our first row. This is our second row, this here. And then this here is our third row here. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this down to the third row. So that we're starting from the right spot. Okay. And I'll come this way through the side of one of these so that I'm facing the direction I want to face. Okay. Okay, so now we want to be going around the bar of the stitch in the third row. So right here is what we want to be going around. So I'm gonna come out to my third row, poke through. This is 1, 2, 3, and just go around that bar. And then I'm just gonna kind of do the same thing on this side. So I'm gonna come under the 2 loops of the stitch, around the bar, and back through. I'm doing it this way so that it shows less. There's other ways you could do it. But this is 1 for 1. So for each 1 stitch we're working into here, we're working under 1 stitch here. So then I'm going to go around the next bar. And then I'm going to come under the next stitch around that bar, and I'm going to continue this around. around the bar of the stitch in the third round, and then around the bar of the stitch in the dirt. And you could, depending on how much you care if the color shows, you could come around here like this, and you could just go under the stitch like this. You'll have that little bit show more. It's just kind of up to you. But I'm going to continue working around here with stitch for stitch. So to keep track, I'm not going to tighten these all the way down. Like, I can still see this loop. I'll tighten them down every couple stitches, and then I can know where the next bar is to work around, because it can be a little bit difficult to tell. And I could, like right now, I could do around the next as well. Just kind of doing more movements at once, if that works for you. But if not, you can do them one by one. You could, you know, come out one, go through one, you know, like this, divide it up each one. That's fine as well. So I'm gonna keep doing this around, and then we're not gonna finish this all the way around at once. Let me tighten this. We are going to stop part way, like with a little bit left to stuff. So I'm just gonna keep working around the same way and pause near the end, and then come back and we'll stuff and finish sewing. So I'll be back. Okay, so I'm almost all the way around. I estimated my tail too short and had to add more yarn because I didn't like stretch this out when I was like, I did it with this kind of contracted in, which is silly of me. So we are going to stuff this with stuffing and then finish sewing around. So we need stuffing for the cacti still. So we'll see how firmly we can get this. It doesn't really look all that firm, like it's not holding a really clean shape on the box. So maybe we want it to be a good base though, so that it sits nice. How does that look? I personally am feeling just a little bit more. These ones are going to require a bit, but I still don't think that this amount is going to equal this amount, so I think we can use a little more than half. No, get back. No, get back in there. Get back in there. No, don't do this. Return. I'm making progress, even if it might not seem like it. Okay. Yay. All right. pretty good. I would like a little bit more. I'm probably taking too much, and I'll probably regret it later. But it's fine. It's totally fine. Totally fine. That seems pretty good. Yeah, okay. That'll be enough. So, just a couple more stitches to do now. Just continuing around like I was before, only now I'm going to be using my finger to try to keep the stuffing away from my needle and the thread, because otherwise it'll pick up little pieces of it and spread everywhere and be annoying. Okay. So I'm going to continue around like this until we get to the other end. And then I will be back. Okay, so we're here at the last couple. Now, since this is getting, there's a space to work with, I'm doing this in 2 stages now, going through and then finding my other side and going through over there. Because there's a little less room to work. But we are coming up on the end here. And I think this is our last one. So I'll go around here. Now this one is where my join is, so it's going to be a little bit harder to get through there. And then again on this side, this is also going to be the join spot because I did it that way. Okay. So I'll pull that tight a little. And here we are. Now to tie this down, I'm just going to come in here and just, you know, close to the dirt line. I'm just going to grab a stitch here. Tighten that down pretty well. And now I'm going to just go under the dirt and into this open inside. Pull that through to the other side. And now I'm going to pull this so that I'm making it shorter than the width of this, so that when I cut this, it'll spring back into the center and just disappear. Okay. So there is our dirt and pot. Okay, so let's get into this first cactus. Now, a while back, I went through the colors and labeled them as far as my eyes could tell with what color was what, since they're all greens. D is the lime green, which I am taking to mean this one. So, similarly to how we followed the same directions for the beginning of the dirt from the pot, we are going to be making 4 of these cacti from this beginning set of directions. This is gonna take more, it'll be faster to do than to explain, but we're gonna start and then we're gonna increase, and then for this first one, for rounds 3 through 12, we're going to be single crocheting in each single crochet around. And then for the second cactus, we're gonna start again from the beginning, but stop at 8 rounds here. 3, same thing, but stopping at 9. 4, same thing, stopping at 10. The 5th one is going to be bigger. So we're going to have an additional increase row before we start the single crochet in each stitch around. But that means that once I demonstrate the beginning, you can do all 4 of these. And since these are just rounds of single crochet in each stitch around, I don't even need to demonstrate each round, so this will be a lot less recording than doing. Since single crochet in each stitch around is kind of the simplest instruction here, I'm just going to, oh, I don't like it when the other bottom end is, I need to find this and take this out and kind of secure it outside, otherwise it keeps catching in my yarn as I'm trying to pull it out. So hopefully that will keep that there for now. Okay, so now the top of these is going to show, so you can either chain 2 and then close that hole up, or magic circle. I think that for these I'll probably just magic circle, I think. Well, no, I'll just chain 2 and then close it up. So color D, we need to make a slip knot. So bring the yarn around your thumb, hold the tail between your fingers, take the working yarn, which is the yarn connected to the ball, pinch it between your thumb and your pointer finger, and then take that loop, pass it over onto the pointer finger, and grab and tighten down. That's how I do them. And then we're going to chain 2, so press back against the yarn, grab that yarn when you turn your hook, rotate it towards you, and pull through the loop on your hook for 1, and then again for 2. So we're going to do 6 single crochet in the second chain from the hook. This is the loop on my hook. This is the first chain from my hook. This is the second chain from my hook. So we're going to go under 1 loop here and work all 6 single crochet into this opening. So 1, 2, 3, and I'm letting it rotate around, 4, 5, 6, and now we're going to slip stitch to our first single crochet. So to find that, we can count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and slip stitch here. Now we are going to chain 1 and do 2 single crochet in each stitch around. So starting in the one we just joined to, we're going to increase in every stitch. So 1, 2, next stitch 3, 4, next stitch 5, 6, next stitch 7, 8, next stitch, 9, 10, and then last stitch here, 11, 12, and this is our slip stitch to join, and this is our chain. So we are going to slip stitch to this top stitch, but first I'm going to tighten this up, this opening with this tail. So I'm going to, since my tail is short this time, I'm just gonna first grab a couple of loops with my needle before threading the yarn on. These want to be difficult because they're tiny. Maybe I'll do the upper ones instead because they're bigger. So we'll just go through here and then through here, and now I will thread this on and pull through, and then same thing again. Let me under there. Okay, through here and through there should be good. Okay, now I'm going to pull to close that, and then we're going to tie this off. So I'm going to go under a nearby stitch, and I'm going to get just the end of this under it. I'm going to hold this part of this loop so that I don't pull it all the way through. And then I'm going to stick my needle in the loop that I made and put this tail through my needle again and pull that through and tighten down. And now I'm just gonna weave this through some spots a bit just to shorten it a little, and then leave it there and let it sit inside. Stop that. Sit inside this little cactus that we're making. I'm not going to pull this like all the way tight on purpose because I just want to shorten it up a little so it's not in my way. Okay, all that done. And I'll do that at the beginning of each of them. Now we're back to joining to our first single crochet, which is right here. Okay. Now, for rounds 3 through 12 in this case, this is what we're going to do. Chain 1, 1 single crochet in each stitch around. So first single crochet there, 2, 3. Now in this case, just make sure you're finding your next single crochet and not getting tricked by the edge of these loops here, because until we have formed the shape to start building the wall up, it's a little more of a stretch, because last row we did an increase. The reach is a little further to get to your next stitch. So just make sure you pay attention to that. And this is going to be the instruction basically through finishing this. I pulled a loop there. Let's go back. Pull this up, get past that little pulled out area, so they'll just smooth this out. Okay. There we go. Anyways. So after I do this one, I'll just finish this out. And then the other 4 cacti are all the same. You'll just stop at different rows. Okay, so last stitch here. And then there's our slip to join, there's our chain. So we're just going to slip to join to the first single crochet we had made. And chain 1 to do the next round. So continue this through 12. So for the other ones, when you get to 8, you'll fasten off 9, 10. So I'm going to finish this one out because it's just more rows. You can write 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Mark them off each as you go, or you can just keep doing them and count every now and then. So we have this center circle here as our round 1, and then each of these kind of circles out is a round. So right here we have this as our round 1, this as 2, and this is 3. So you could do it that way. But I'll finish this out, be back for the fasten off, and then I will do the beginning of the 5th cactus because that one's different. So I'll do that like up through round 4 into 5. So I'll be back after this guy's done. Okay, so we're at the end of round 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. So for your second cactus, this is where you're done. So still not working into your slip to join or your chain, you would just slip to the first single crochet, pull that tight, and then trim this, leaving a tail to sew it. But since we're not doing that right now, I'm going to undo that. Actually, I didn't need to undo the slip for starting the next row, I guess, but I'll do round 9, and then that will be where the next cactus, which would be the 3rd cactus, would finish. Okay, so here is what it looks like after 9. And you would just slip to this stitch here and trim your tail for sewing on. One thing about doing these types of littler things is your other round is so close, the other side here is so close to where you're working. So I like to keep it tamped down with my finger here so that I don't accidentally catch some, either a whole loop or just like the side of one, because that's a thing that can happen. So I like to do that as I go around and hold that other side down. So that was where the 4th cactus, right? Was that 4 or was that 3? That was 3. The next one would end after this round 10. Which we are almost back around. Okay, so this is where your 4th cactus would end. So you would slip over here and cut a tail for sewing. I'm going to do the final, what is it, 2 rows, and be back. Okay, so here is end of round 12. So I'm going to fasten off for real this time. So slip stitch to the first single crochet, tighten down, and then leave a tail for sewing it on. And then you already know how to do the next 3 cacti. So for the 5th one, we're going to start the same. So I'm going to repeat these first 3 rounds and then be back for 4. Okay, so I've done rounds 1, 2, and 3. And now I've chained 1 for round 4. And we are just going to single crochet and then increase alternating around. So single crochet in this first one, increase in the second, and continue alternating that around for round 4. And then for the rest of this one, it's just going to be a single crochet and each stitch around. So after I finish out this round, I'll just do rounds 5 through 16. And I already tightened up the opening here with that tail like I did with the first one. And I'll do that the same way with all the other ones. Okay, so here's our last stitch here. Increase, and then join to our first single crochet over here. This is our slip to join, that's our chain. So now just rounds of single crochet, and then we'll fasten off. Okay, so here we are at the end of round 16. So I'm going to fasten off here, tighten this down, and estimate a tail for sewing on. Okay, so stop that. This is the first and last cactus of this group. And I will do these other 3 in between now and the next video. And then next time we will work on the second cactus and its flowers. So, hope this was helpful. Now this has us putting each cactus together in the pot at the end of making them. You know, it shows the assembly here. I will probably not do that. I prefer to kind of have everything. Usually I prefer to have all the pieces so then I can figure out exactly where I want them to go. So I probably will do all the sewing at the end. But obviously you don't have to. So hope this was helpful, and see you guys next time for some more cactus.